Now this section is based on the validity. So the contracts are divided on the basis of it being valid or no. We have to decide if it is valid or it is not valid. Please remember that all the valid contracts are enforceable in the court of law, but contracts which are not valid will not be enforceable in the court of law. So let us see what are the types of contract based on the validity. First type is a valid contract. Now what do you mean by a valid contract? Valid contract means a contract which has all the essential elements. We've just studied what are the essential elements. Essential elements are intention to create a legal relationship, capacity to contract, free consent, certain meaning, possibility of performance, free consent, not expressly declared as void, lawful object, lawful consideration, and some legal formalities. So these are the essential elements. And if all these essential elements are present in an agreement, we call that agreement as a valid contract. So a contract which has all the essential elements will be a valid contract. The examples of valid contract are many. You purchase a book, it's a valid contract. You purchase a movie ticket, it's a valid contract. You get your shoes polished, it's a valid contract. You purchase groceries, it's a valid contract. You purchase some provision or biscuits or soft drinks, it's a valid contract. You go to a restaurant to dine, you have dinner there and you pay them, it's a valid contract. So all these contracts where you get something and pay in return, or you give something in return, are normal business transactions and are valid contracts. The next is a void contract. A void contract is a contract which is not valid. Void means which is null or which is invalid. It is not valid. It is void. It is null. So, which contract is not valid? All those contracts which do not have all the essential elements. A contract which does not contain all the essential elements will be a invalid contract or a void contract. What are the essential elements? Essential elements are intention to create the legal relationship, capacities of parties to perform contract, free consent, certainty in meaning, lawful object and lawful consideration. Then you have possibility of performance. Then you have not expressly declared as void, some legal formalities. So these are the essential elements. If any of them is not present in the agreement will become void. If all of them are present, it will become valid. If one or more of these is absent in the contract, that contract will become as void contract. Now let us see how is a void contract defined as per the Indian Contract Act 1872. It is defined as a contract which ceases to be enforceable by law. It is a contract which is not enforceable by law. But the important word here is ceases. Ceases means it stops. It stops to be enforceable by law. Now this is very important. The word stops here implies that the contract started as a valid contract, that it started as a one which was enforceable by law, and after a point it stopped being enforceable. So When the contract started, it was valid. It was valid. And after a point, till it end, it was void. So in the initial phase, it was valid, and after that, it became void. It may end here or it may continue to remain void. So, a contract which starts off as a valid contract, a contract which starts off as being enforceable by law, and later on something happens in the contract, some essential goes missing, then that contract becomes void. Then that contract becomes not enforceable by law. Now, I'll just give you an example. A is a person who trades or deals in wine, in liquor, and B is a person who purchases liquor from A. So A contracts with B that he will supply liquor to B, and B tells him that he'll pay him rupees 1 lakh for the same. But the condition was delivery was to happen after a month. Now, what do you think? Is this contract legal? Is this contract valid, or this contract is void? This is a normal valid contract. It's a normal business contract. A deals in liquor and he supplies liquor to B. And for the same, B pays him some money. So it's a normal business contract. It's a valid contract because it has all the essentials of a valid contract. Now what happens is, before the month ended, because the delivery was to happen after a month, now before the month ended, a law was passed and trading in liquor was banned. As per law, trading in liquor would be considered as a crime. Now what do you think? Can A supply liquor to B after a month? No, he can't. Because before that, it has been enacted that trading in liquor would be a crime. It has been banned. So now A cannot supply liquor to B. So what is happening is, when the contract was formed, this contract remained valid till this date. Let's say the contract started on 1st April and we had the enactment coming on 15th April. So the contract remained valid till 15th April. And after the law getting passed that the trading in liquor is banned, the contract becomes void, because now it will become illegal to trade in liquor. So the object of the contract will become illegal. The essential that goes missing here is legal object. The object should be legal. But what is happening here? Before 15th April, the object was legal. It was lawful. After 15th April, the object will become unlawful. And once the object becomes unlawful, the contract will be considered as void. So a void contract is a contract which started off as a valid contract, and later on, because some essential went missing or some essential was absent, that contract ceased to be valid. It ceased to be enforceable by law and thus became void.